Just a warning, just to get this out of the way, a disclaimer from the very beginning. What you will see over the next few minutes, if you continue to watch, will be a shamelessly navel-gazing episode. I will be studying the inner recesses of my navel, which is an innie, by the way, for those of you who are wondering. And I don't know how you could help but wonder. I'm going to be considering my life so far and a choice that I could have made that I didn't make, and comparing it to the choice that I did make, and wondering if I made the right choice. So maybe that sounds like an interesting or intriguing notion to you. Maybe it's something you can relate to. Maybe you can somehow make it correspond to something in your own life, a choice that you've made. Of course, we all make choices, right? And those choices lead to eventualities, and then we wonder if we'd taken a different route, what eventuality might we have found. So I might have mentioned this before. Okay, so anyway, that's all. So if you're not into my navel gazing, if you're not into the deepest recesses of my navel, there it is. I think you can see it. Yeah, there it is. Bigger than life. All right. So if that's too much for you, then vamoose. No offense. I take no offense. I give no offense. If you were offended by me showing you my navel, then, well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? You probably shouldn't watch the rest of this video, because you got to do some literal navel gazing just then, and now I'm going to be figuratively navel gazing. Well, I might have mentioned this before, but when I was a youth, especially around college age, I became very enamored of film, and I still am enamored of it as a medium. I'm still something of a cinephile, but when I was around 18, 19, 20 or so, I actually thought I pondered the idea of trying to get into film, trying to become a film director. So, of course, the place to go if you're going to pursue film studies, of course, you don't have to go to film school to do film. But I was thinking to myself at the time, well, if I do go on to film school, NYU would be the place to go, because at the time I adored Scorsese. I wanted to be the next Scorsese, and I said at the time I adored him. He's still great. I don't have the same, quite the same ardent love for his work that I did then, but I still love his work. It's just I've got other things to do, other things that are occupying my attention right now. Whereas back then I could just slip the VHS in and watch Mean Streets for the 27th time, or whatever, something like that. So there was a summer camp at NYU, like for prospective film students, and I remember applying for it, and I don't remember what I had to do. I don't think I had to show them any of my work. That would have been much harder to do back then, because there was no camera phones. There were video recording devices, video cameras, but they were big and bulky. And there was still a possibility to shoot on film, but that was very expensive, and so I didn't have to give any samples of my work, which was a good thing because the only samples of my work were like maybe between 8 to 10 years old, stuff that I had done around the neighborhood with with some kids in the neighborhood that I roped in to be part of my science fiction epic, Space Wars with the Burdarians. And that was it. That was all that I had to show them. I don't think that would have impressed them very much, or maybe would have impressed them in the wrong way. But whatever it was, I sent it. I filled out the form and I applied, and then I eventually got a message back, and the message said you've been accepted. You'll have to pay something like $3,000 to be a part of this summer camp at NYU, but you've been accepted. So I don't know if I knew all along about the cost, but by that time I had only sporadically worked. I didn't have much money to my own name, and I thought about it, and I thought, do I really want to do this? Yeah, it would be fun. It would be interesting. It would be exciting to be in New York, to be talking about film, all those kinds of things. Maybe get to visit Little Italy, where they film Mean Streets, or see the cafe where Travis Bickle was eating with the rest of his cabbies in Taxi Driver, and all those kinds of things. But I eventually decided, no, this isn't really the time for that. I need to work this summer. I need to get a job. And so I think I wrote them back, because you were required to respond. Well, I mean, you were supposed to write back telling whether you had accepted or not. And so I wrote back saying, no, thank you very much, but I don't think I'll be coming. I don't think I said why or anything like that. I don't think I had to say why, but just it was like yes or no. Do you like me, yes or no? Like those notes that got passed in third grade. And in this case, it wasn't that I disliked them. It was just that I thought to myself, that's not really going to be that. That's not really where it's at this summer. Summer of 92. Summer of 92 was when it was. I was 21 years old. So I sent back, no, I won't be attending. And then I got something back from them, and it was like, are you sure you don't want to attend the NYU summer camp, the film school summer camp? I mean, you're really passing up on a big opportunity here. You sure you want to do this? You sure? I was sure. All right. It didn't make me rethink anything, but I was surprised that they were so insistent. And I guess they sent them back to everybody who said no. Or maybe they thought I just seemed, more promising than most, and they really wanted to try to talk me into it because they really liked me. But probably not. They probably, I don't know, they probably accepted everybody who wanted to be a part of it. Who can come to our NYU summer camp and pay us $3,000? We need to be really selective here. Probably not. They'd be more selective in who they accepted, for their actual film school studies or for enrolling in the program. But Summer school probably wasn't a big deal. So anyway, especially because it wasn't free or anything. So I said no. Or my answer remained no. I don't think I had to send anything back again. And remember, this is way before email or anything like that. Everything was by post, or I guess something could be by phone, but everything here was by post. So that was how the world worked back then. So I doubt I would have ever made it as a director. The odds were against me. Making it in the biz. I don't know if I ever would have been able to have the kind of ambition or the kind of. It seems like you have to have this kind of gregariously extroverted, kind of personality that I never really had. There have been times where I've been, where I've been hyper focused on something and managed to stay focused and bring people along with me to focus on the project as well. But most of the time, like when I was trying to get my friends in the neighborhood to do my science fiction movie, Space Wars with the Berdarians, I doubt they were never really as excited about it as I was. So that's the thing about film, is it's a collaborative effort. Even if you're an auteur, which is what I aspired to be, which maybe was pretentious on my part, but that was what, I thought, like Scorsese and Lynch and the French New Wave guys and Hitchcock and all the others, where you watch the movie and this is a film by X. It's got trademark qualities about it that lets you know this is a film by X. That was a fascinating idea. The whole auteur notion that you left your mark as a director on these movies. Auteur just means author, I believe, in French, and it was a word because of the French New Wave. That was how it got into the vernacular in talking about filmic kind of stuff. So it would have been collaborative. Let's just say I had managed to impress people at NYU, and they had set me up with connections, and I was on my way to maybe becoming an auteur. Maybe in some more limited fashion, maybe a more low budget kind of independent minded auteur. But and that would have been fine. I wouldn't have I didn't have ambitions to be huge or anything like that. But if it had worked out, if that had worked out, and there's a big if, because I don't know what I would have done to impress people that much. Maybe I would have learned some technical things. I have never been technically minded, technically proficient, technically interested. So as far as knowing what different shots were, knowing what different types of stock photography, what type to use here or there. I knew things like color versus black and white, elementary stuff, but like the kind of stuff that's really the bread and butter of a lot of film oriented people. It was not something that ever really interested me. Now, maybe if I got into film school and it was all around me, maybe then, it would have become part of what interested me. Maybe I would have dived in to the deep end and just learned a bunch of stuff and become not just an auteur in the idea of telling a story in a particular way, but also an auteur in knowing technical stuff to ask for. If that had all worked out, the very collaborative nature of film is something I'm not sure I would have ever been conducive. That would have ever been conducive to me, to my personality. I'm a rather introverted kind of person. But here's where the paradox lies. So I've been a writer instead. I wound up. I chose to work that summer, and that summer I worked a job in which I met the girl who became my wife. So that was kind of that was a definite point in time where things, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, so to speak. And I took the one less traveled by, or I took the one that was that meant I was making money instead of spending money. So, and that resulted in ultimately me marrying and some further time along the line having children. None of that would have happened if I'd gone to NYU film summer camp in the summer of '92. But here's the sort of paradox. I've become a writer. I see writing as my life's work, and that's what I do. Now, writing is very non-collaborative. It can be collaborative, but in my case, it's non-collaborative. It's just me alone with my word processor, or with whatever used to be me alone with a notebook and a pen, until I got to that age where, those of older guys out there might know, with poor vision might know this. You get to a certain age where you can't really see what's close to you without having to take off your glasses. You have to take off your glasses to read a book or whatever, and so it necessitated me taking off my glasses when I was transcribing from paper to which is where paper was my first draft, and word processing or computer or laptop was my second draft. But when it got to be highly impractical, because I was just having to take my glasses off all the time, look back and forth to see what I had written on the page, eventually I just stopped with the use of the notebook at all. But writing can be a very lonely thing. When you write, you are isolated from the world. And I'm someone who the sort of personality that I have is I'm generally inclined towards isolation. I'm generally inclined towards introspection, introversion. But at the same time, I am aware of the fact that the times in which I think I'm usually the happiest, and the times in which I am most successfully brought out of my head, brought out of the workings of my brain, and and made to forget about myself and just sort of don't know, cliche, but enjoy the moment is when I'm with others. And filmmaking is something that wouldn't have come as easy to me, but I wonder if I had managed to be successful at it, if it would have been less lonely and less, painful, in a sense, than writing has been for me. Those are just my navel-gazing thoughts. Take them for whatever they're worth. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through, thanks for watching.